not here, sadly. He's in Israel. Herbert Crosney. I haven't seen or spoken to Herb since I graduated from high school. He, as I said, he lives in Israel. He was a wonderful tennis player. He was a real tennis player. He won the state doubles in his senior year. But he also wrote books and got plays together and has written many books, 19 as of a couple of years ago, including The Quest for the Gospel of Judas Iscariot, and it's a filmmaker, The Russian Connection, and his Islamic Bomb. His nephew, I think, is in Scarsdale schools, because every so often this young man comes up and asks me if I know who Herb Crosney is, and I continue to know who he is. Slowly. Elisabeth Stock, class of 1986. Activist. Founder of Computers for Youth, which gets computers into the hands of students who otherwise would have no access to them. How is this for her Bandy quote? This is an amazing one. Quote, "There's a theory which states that if ever anyone discovers exactly what the universe is for and why it is here, it will instantly disappear and be replaced by something even more bizarre and inexplicable. You do not have to explain what that means." Elisabeth was also a White House fellow, an extraordinary position, which sort of signals the future generations. Would you come on up, Elisabeth? Yes, ma'am.
So thank you very much. This is quite an honor. It's very hard to be so high looking down at everybody. It's quite an honor to be here. I want to thank everyone for allowing me to speak with you today. It was really a pleasure. Jeannie and I got to go talk to a class yesterday. And one of the things that Scarsdale High School did for me was it really prepared me for college in a way that I think I didn't expect. I didn't think of myself as one of the top students here. I felt like I had a lot of other interests besides just school. I was doing a lot of music and a lot of sports, so I was very active with the soccer team. I had a rock band with my friends down in New Rochelle. And so I sort of felt like I did okay here. But I was lucky because the year that I was applying for college was a year when MIT decided they wanted to increase the number of female students and also sort of decrease a little bit the nerd quotient. And so they felt like I sort of hit both at once, and somehow I managed to get in, and not feeling like I necessarily deserved to. And I went there, and I was in a freshman class. I was in a dorm, and I had two roommates. And one of my roommates was valedictorian of her class, and the other one was salutatorian of her class. And very quickly, I realized that I was the only one who knew any physics, because they hadn't gone to very good high schools and hadn't had the opportunity to take AP physics. So I ended up being the one who was teaching them how to do physics. So I discovered that, wow, even though I might not have been top of my class here, I was very well prepared to go on to a place like MIT. The other thing that really prepared me too was we had a pretty amazing soccer team here when I was a student, and going off to MIT where the team was not so great, I went from being sweeper here, and usually sweeper sort of like if you get any worse, you're going to go into the goalie, and then the goalie you're back, right? You sort of move back every year as you get slower, and I then went off to MIT and I was striker. So it just goes to show you, I went from the back of the field to the front, so I felt very well prepared there too. So anyway, I want to tell you a little bit about the work that I've been pursuing over the last 12 years. So I'm the CEO and co-founder of an organization we used to be called Computers for Youth, but we just recently changed our name to the very original CFY, which is the acronym we've been using for some time. And part of the reason is because the name Computers for Youth doesn't describe us very well anymore. So let me sort of describe to you what we do. We have sort of two strands of our work. One strand we call in the cloud, and the other strand we call on the ground. And so the in the cloud work that we do is we have built a free K-12 online learning platform where basically we're identifying the best digital learning activities that exist out there. Not ones created by us, but third-party created. And we're identifying them and then placing them on our platform and tagging them by the subject area, by the grade band, and now by the Common Core, which is just coming out. And that enables teachers, students, and parents to very easily find them and use them. And our user interface is really engaging. Typically, platforms like this are designed just for teachers, and they're just this sort of list of boring links. And what we're doing is kind of stealing the best that's out there. So we've designed ours to look a lot the way the iPhone works, where each digital learning activity is like a little rectangle. It tells you a little bit about it. And for us, a digital learning activity could be a video, like you may have heard of Saul Khan's videos. It could be an interactive. It could be a piece of software. And our theory, though, about this platform, what we think makes this really neat, is it's not just that we've identified these great activities, which are very hard to find now, because if you go on Google and you say, I'm looking for something related to dividing fractions by fraction, you'll have pages and pages. And how do you know which one is good? But in addition, we sort of are functioning at the meta level as well, and we're allowing teachers and students to build playlists out of these activities. So imagine you're a teacher, you're about to walk in and teach a class on one variable equations. You can go to our platform and find a playlist that's built around one variable equations. So say a student, say Jose, walks into his school up in East Harlem. Jose's experience would be walking in, teacher says, okay, everyone, they throw up on the whiteboard, here's our playlist for today. I'm going to show you a video that's by Bill Nye. It's really engaging. Then we're going to do something where I show you a little interactive. It's a little balance scale, and it's a visual way of representing algebra, which I wish I had had, because I'm a visual learner, but you typically learn in high school in an auditory way, at least back when I was in high school. And so, Jose's then learning all of this, and then it's broken out into the classroom where maybe his class has a one-to-one laptop card, or they have computers in the back, so they break into groups, they continue on the playlist, but then Jose's sent home. He hasn't finished his playlist. Teacher says, okay, this is your homework. So when Jose gets home, his mom can see, he's gotten assigned playlists in 3 of his subjects. I'm going to work with him on those playlists, and I'm going to help him with them. And also, once he is finishing off his homework, he realizes, one of these digital learning activities, this was cool. Like, this wasn't just doing it for homework. I kind of am into this. And then he can click on what we call we have a button that's sort of like Pandora Radio for learning. So it shows him other activities on the platform that are related, so that he can then go from what's teacher-directed learning and pivot to self-directed learning. And our feeling is that it's that pivot that really makes the difference in children's learning. Because if in a low-income community, kids finish their homework and then what they do next is something completely unrelated to their classroom learning, but in a place like Scarsdale, kids are getting this opportunity where their parents are asking them questions, and they have lots of resources at home, and they can make that pivot. Then what you find is that in Scarsdale, the kids are spending 2 times, maybe 3 times as much time learning, with a large portion of that being self-directed, like what they care about. And then in low-income communities, it's just a small period of time, what they're learning in school. So that's a big part of our theory of how we're going to change the outcomes that we see in our country, is really allowing the learning to move from the classroom to the home and encourage this kind of pivot, get kids really engaged. So then you say, well, that sounds kind of cool, but I thought you were focused on low-income kids. And in low-income communities, I thought there's an absence of computers and broadband in the home. So how are kids making this pivot? So our on-the-ground piece of what we do is we actually partner with public middle schools with very high poverty statistics, and we then provide training and computer and discounted broadband here in New York City, for example, to all the families in the 6th grade. And we come back year after year serving the school, so that within 3 years, the entire school is saturated. And we train the teachers and the parents and everything. So now Jose really has a teacher who knows how to use the playlist in class. He has a parent who understands how to track his use of the playlist at home and encourage him. And it can really make the difference for these kids. And we've been able to show through research that we can do it. And it's been a really exciting journey for me. I've been doing this 12 years, and one of the things I like to think about is, for a long time I felt like, there's that expression with rock musicians who've made it, where they're like, I was playing dive bars for so many years and now I'm playing stadiums. That's what it feels like for us. So for me, I've been doing this for 12 years, and for a long time, we didn't get a lot of attention. We were sort of doing it on the side. Everyone was focused on computers in the classroom, and we were focused on the home environment. And then suddenly, about 2 years ago, the Klieg lights came on, and we started playing stadiums. And one of the things that happened was, when our economy collapsed, there was all this stimulus money that the federal government was trying to get into the economy. And we applied for a few grants, and we went from being a $5 million organization operating in 5 cities to suddenly getting $27 million from the federal government and becoming a $20 million nonprofit. And in addition, this platform that we were building suddenly got the attention of the Gates Foundation, the Broad Foundation. So it's a very different world now for me. And I'd say the main lesson I've learned, which comes from, Jim Collins talks a lot about who you have on the bus, is you got to really get the best people working with you. And I feel like we've been able to do that. So we're very excited about what the future will bring. And just to leave you with a story that sort of, I think, embodies what I'm talking about. I remember about 8 years ago, we had served a school in East Harlem. So all the kids had gone home with a computer, their parent had been trained, and I was meeting with about 8 of the girls, and I was in this room behind the gym. And I said to the girls, so do any of you guys do anything on your home computer that relates to learning? And they all looked at me and they went, no. And I said, you don't do anything related to learning? I'm thinking, what am I doing then, right? They said, no, nothing. So I picked out one of the girls and I said, LaTanya, tell me what you did yesterday on your computer. And she said, oh, yesterday in English class, I learned about Maya Angelou, and she's a poet. She's black, and I'm black, and I want to be a poet. So I went home, and did you know you can go online and read the first chapter of people's books for free? So I went online, I started reading her books, and then I thought, I can write like her. So I opened up that program on the computer where you can write, and I started writing. I called my mom. Whoa, hold on. LaTanya, that's learning. She said, no, that's not. That's fun. So we're trying to make sure that kids view that fun as part of their learning and that it connects back into what they're doing in the classroom. And really so that all kids can have the kind of experience that we've all had going to Scarsdale High School. So I want to thank you all very much. Thank you.
Wonderful. I think the picture needs to be.
What's that?
That was good.
Picture time.
Picture time.
I know.
All right.
Thank you.